everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, I mean, just like we'd rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you had the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting?
What I'm about to tell you will completely change how you see Tom Brady's calm, unshakable GOAT mode composure, because apparently even legends snap when they see something this dirty go down. Brady didn't just get mad, he went full Super Bowl overtime meltdown on Kevin Stefanski after Shedeur Sanders exposed tactics so grimy they'd make reality TV blush. You'll never look at a Browns game the same way again. Tom Brady has seen it all. Impossible defenses, unfair refs, even Father Time himself, and somehow always kept that ice-cold stare. But what Kevin Stefanski pulled in Cleveland, that broke him. The man, who once stayed chill while 300-pound linemen chased him, looked like he just watched football's moral compass drown in Lake Erie. This wasn't strategy, this was straight sabotage. And Brady wasn't about to sit back and watch Cleveland do what Cleveland does best, take promise and turn it into pure chaos. It all started with one harmless question. A reporter asked Stefanski if he was considering giving Shedeur Sanders a shot. Simple, right? The Browns were 1-3. The locker room vibe was colder than a Cleveland winter. And Shedeur was right there, healthy, laser-focused, throwing darts during warm-ups. The question practically begged to be asked. But Stefanski? He chose violence that day. His answer hit like a brick. Basically football's version of, "Don't talk to me about the future, I'm too busy losing right now." And that's when Brady lost it. The man who once stared down the Falcons' defense with a 28-3 deficit was suddenly pacing, shaking his head, muttering under his breath,
"Play Dylan, trot him out there. Keep explaining to us why he's playing, and it's going to show us in real time you don't know what you're talking about. Because you told us in the draft this was your hand-picked quarterback. It is the exact reason Shedeur Sanders doesn't get reps, because he's going to give every opportunity for Dylan Gabriel to throw his way out of purgatory. It's the reason he dropped back 58 times against the Steelers. The jig is up, Kevin. We understand what it is. We get it."
Like he'd just seen the game's entire code of honor get tossed into the dirt. What Stefanski did wasn't just bad coaching, it was blasphemy in Brady's eyes. The man who built an empire on opportunity just watched a coach bury it under ego and call it leadership. Tom Brady, the guy who made a career proving doubters wrong, couldn't believe what he was seeing. So let's rewind this circus to where the madness started. The Browns were supposed to be reborn, a fresh era, loaded with talent, attitude, and a defense that hit harder than a tax bill in April. And right behind all that muscle stood a shiny new quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, the kid with swagger, legacy, and a highlight reel so clean it could make a punter tear up. Cleveland finally had hope again. And let's be real, hope in Cleveland is usually the first step toward heartbreak. Then came the plot twist. Stefanski didn't even want him. Shedeur wasn't his pick, he was the general manager's call. And if there's one thing NFL coaches despise more than losing, it's being told who their quarterback should be.
Hope somebody trades for Shedeur Sanders. I've seen enough of Dylan Gabriel, and obviously Kevin Stefanski has not.
I hate what's going on with Shedeur. I still got hope, though. You know, right after the game, coaches, sometimes they just say shit. He got to have his own meeting with the owner. Maybe in that meeting, he going to say, "Hey, 18 QBR, get him the fuck out of there, bro. Let's put Shedeur in right now. You're almost giving up on a great defense and a solid run game and the shitty NFC North. If he come and bring a spark, you might go 8-9.
Well, it just shows how much they hate Shedeur.
I got to understand why everybody thinks Stefanski hates the kid. Why is that?
Clear as day.
Because it's clear as day. He wouldn't.
This guy's been coach of the year twice, and he wants to win as bad as anybody else.
Instead of welcoming competition, Stefanski built himself a fortress of excuses. Back tightness, still learning the playbook, we're being cautious. Yeah, right. Meanwhile, Shedeur was out there pre-game throwing absolute missiles, fully healthy, fully ready, while the team pretended he was some kind of medical mystery. You could almost hear the trainers whispering, "He's fine, but let's not ruin the coach's weekend." Everyone saw it. The fans, the players, probably even the mascot. But Stefanski clung to his pride like it was a playbook written in stone, as if losing pretty was better than winning with the wrong guy. And that's when Brady, chilling in his retirement glow, started rolling the game tape. He saw rookie Dillon Gabriel putting fans to sleep. 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and highlights slower than dial-up internet. Brady didn't see a rebuild. He saw a cover-up. Game after game, there he was, Dillon Gabriel developing, while Shedeur Sanders was left polishing helmets on the sideline like a backup in witness protection. Brady couldn't believe his eyes. Development? This looked more like exile with a Gatorade sponsorship. You could almost hear his thoughts boiling over. When I was that age, I was taking hits from linebackers.
Don't think he's going to be the coach to get us past a certain point. And we've seen it for 6 years now, and if you're not going to change at this point, it's not going to happen.
They're probably going to win 5 games this year. That's being generous the rest of the way. That's 3 more wins. Maybe the Jets, Titans, and somebody else. The Bengals
Raiders.
week 18 or Raiders, sure. So, but the point is that would make him 8-26 across 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And if you go back and track the history of the NFL, not many coaches who didn't have their first year be the struggle year have survived this.
Who smelled like regret and turf paint. That's how you learn the game. But Stefanski, oh no, he had a whole different gospel. His philosophy, protect the project, protect the ego, protect the narrative that the coach always knows best. And while he hid behind that nonsense, the fans started snapping. Social media lit up like it was draft night again. Hashtags flying everywhere. Free Shadow, let the kid cook. Every like, every retweet, every double tap was another jab at Stefanski's so-called master plan. The comment sections became straight-up war zones, and talk shows across the country, from Boston to Boise, were roasting Cleveland on air under the headline,
"Local Cleveland media keep going relentless on Shedeur Sanders. He entitled, distracted, developing slow, can't learn the playbook, not getting practice reps with the scout team, not getting practice reps at all." But what if I told you? Then don't none of that got to do nothing with football. This goes deeper than people realize. If y'all ain't seen the Tom Brady came out on Colin Cowherd, now this is pertaining to the Browns saying they developing quarterbacks.
"What's wrong with the Browns?" And right in the middle of all that smoke, Brady dropped his analysis like a tactical bomb, because Tom Brady doesn't do subtle. He'd been talking for weeks on national TV about leadership, trust, and giving young quarterbacks a real shot. And now here was Cleveland doing the exact opposite, benching their future like it was toxic waste. To Brady, it was straight-up football blasphemy. This is the man who turned Drew Bledsoe's injury into a dynasty. He knows what a next man up moment can do. So when he saw Shedeur wasting away, while the Browns kept losing 13-10 masterpieces, he exploded. And in true Brady style, he didn't just call out the play, he shredded the entire philosophy behind it. Meanwhile, Stefanski stood there cool as ever, pretending not to hear a word. Same blank stare, same tired line every week. "We're sticking with our plan." "Yeah, sure, coach," until the whole city turns on you. "Our focus is where we are right now." That's Stefanski's favorite line, classic coach speak for, "We have no clue what we're doing, but please stop asking." Meanwhile, Brady's sitting at home watching this disaster unfold like it's a live documentary titled "How to Ruin a Franchise in Real Time."
So many rookies around him, he's a rookie himself, and that this offense is a work in progress and might not be a well-oiled machine in week 1 or 2 of him.
I understand the question. I would just tell you our focus is just getting him up to speed, getting our younger players up to speed. But that's our job during the work week at practice, so that we can see constant improvement by those guys.
You could practically see the veins popping out of his forehead every time Cleveland called another useless screen pass on 3rd and 11. To Brady, this wasn't just bad football. It was disrespectful. The man built an entire career, an entire religion around precision, preparation, and accountability. And now he's watching the Browns run their offense like it's an improv night at some basement comedy club. It was chaos pretending to be structure, and it made his blood boil. But here's the real twist. This wasn't just incompetence, it was politics. Shedeur Sanders' presence on that roster was a threat. If he stepped on that field and lit it up, Stefanski's whole narrative would collapse overnight. All those pressers about trusting the process, gone. All that talk about Gabriel needing time, torn to shreds. The coach would look like the guy who benched his most talented player just to protect his pride. And in NFL circles, that's not just bad. That's career suicide. It's like walking into a steakhouse and ordering a salad. You just don't do it. So instead of facing that truth, Stefanski did what insecure leaders always do.
Drew, who was a franchise quarterback, right? In my second year, it's training camp. And we had a very good quarterback coach named Dick Rabine. And God rest his soul, unfortunately, he passed away in training camp and of a heart attack. And it was a very difficult loss for our team. And the way that we found a way to continue on that season is Bill Belichick became more of a quarterback coach than we ever imagined him being a quarterback coach. He was obviously a head coach, very involved in defensive game.
He doubled down. He wrapped himself in excuses, hid behind systems, and prayed no one noticed his empire was built on fear, not football. Stefanski did what desperate men do best. He buried the evidence. But Brady? Oh, he wasn't letting that slide. Week after week on every broadcast, he kept dropping the same line, "Let the young talent cook." At that point, he might as well have held up a neon sign saying, "Play Shedeur now." The football world caught on instantly. Brady wasn't talking in general anymore. He was talking about Cleveland, and Stefanski, he knew it.
I think at this point, we rather have Kevin Stefanski and lose than go a different direction and be successful. We got the Bengals fans chanting at you, thank you. We done already had to deal with the Sam White. You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati, and we still getting laughed at.
They weren't thanking Stefanski, they were thanking Andrew Barry.
Same difference. And Kevin Stefanski, same difference. I don't like neither one of them. They could both get a...
The most decorated quarterback in NFL history was torching his coaching ethics on live television without even saying his name. That's when the pressure cooker exploded. Inside the Browns locker room, the tension was thicker than a goal line pileup. The defense was exhausted from dragging the offense up and down the field, while the scoreboard barely broke single digits. Receivers started giving Gabriel side-eye like, "Bro, can you throw it past 10 yards?" And the offensive coordinator, man, looked like he needed a therapist after every drive. Meanwhile, Shedeur stayed calm. Too calm. Quiet, patient, dangerous. Because here's the thing about Shedeur Sanders, he lives in the storm. This is a kid who's been under lights since high school, coached by a Hall of Fame father, built to perform when everyone else panics. Pressure doesn't break him, it sharpens him. Cameras, critics, chaos, that's his comfort zone. While Cleveland was melting down from the inside, Shedeur was plotting in silence, liking a few key posts here.
It's extremely important to keep your mental in the best place because that's what my game is played. My game's not played from my legs and not even just my arm. So I know longevity, the all-time greats, what's Tom Brady's best trait? His mental. He's able to think. So if you have those traits of greatness and I know where I'm heading, then why wouldn't the franchise pick me? You got the ultimate cheat code.
Showing up early to practice there, sending subtle signals to the locker room. I'm ready when it's time. And slowly but surely, the energy started shifting. Teammates began to whisper, heads started to turn, and the quiet backup everyone ignored started to look more and more like the leader the Browns were too scared to play. The whispers started turning into full-on conversations in the locker room. Players were saying it out loud now. Why isn't he playing? The mutiny had officially begun. The Browns' offense looked like it was trying to set a new record for most punts in one half. Gabriel was missing open throws, receivers were losing their cool, and by halftime, the fans were already booing like it was a tradition. Stefanski stood there on the sideline, frozen, jaw-locked, watching his masterpiece of stubbornness crumble right in front of him. Up in the broadcast booth, Brady was watching every second like it was performance art. You could see him shaking his head in disbelief, whispering under his breath, This is why you play your best guy. Every time Gabriel checked down for another 2-yard gain, the camera panned to Brady's face, pure silent agony. The man didn't even need words. His expression said it all. And then it happened. Fourth quarter. Browns down double digits, and the crowd was losing it. Shedeur! Shedeur! The chant was so loud the stadium cameras literally started to shake. Stefanski, trapped in his own ego, finally cracked. He motioned for Shedeur to go in.
Than Dylan Gabriel, better than Bailey Zappi. Shedeur would be playing. I just don't know if it's that clear. Maybe he hasn't done enough.
We don't know.
I know.
Stefanski's been saying Shedeur's doing everything right. He's in there grinding. Stefanski won't give him a shot.
Are the players coming out saying we want Shedeur?
Myles Garrett made a statement yesterday.
He might as well said it.
Then yeah, I think they should play Shedeur. But I do know this. The first 4 games that Dylan Gabriel's played has not been very good.
I just believe with all my heart and soul in Shedeur Sanders. He's it. He's got a Brady-esque arm, and he's tough as they come and deadly accurate. He was born to play this position in this league at this level. If you throw him into this fire, and it is a dumpster fire at the moment, he'll light.
And the place erupted. It wasn't just noise, it was a full-blown Cleveland earthquake. Brady leaned forward in his chair, that sly grin spreading across his face. He knew what was about to happen. Shedeur trotted onto the field calm as ever. Not a single blink, not a single shake. First play, a 20-yard laser. Second play, a 40-yard dime on the sideline. Third play, touchdown. Boom! The crowd went insane. Brady nearly jumped out of his chair, fists in the air like he was back in Foxborough. And Stefanski, the man looked haunted, pale, speechless, watching his coaching credibility evaporate in real time. From that moment, the entire story flipped. Cleveland wasn't a tragedy anymore. It was a revolution. Shedeur commanded that offense like he'd been running it all season. The receivers lit up, the defense finally exhaled, and the whole city, a city that's been through decades of heartbreak, suddenly had something real to believe in again.
Shedeur, I promise you, that stadium and that team and that offense, whether it goes great or it doesn't, at very least, you're going to get the Jackson Dart effect that the Giants had
That's a good
in New York, where they said, all right, we got a shot. I believe in this guy.
You got to do it at home right now. You got a home game.
A winnable home. It's
a winnable home game.
Yeah.
If Dylan do play, is the crowd going to come in the game like, if Shedeur plays, it's going to be lit up in there.
It will be.
You know what I'm saying?
It will be.
Defense going to come fly around. Man, it's the perfect time to start you a little streak if you want to start you a little streak.
We all know Stefanski is fighting for his job.
And the wildest part? All of it happened the second the coach finally got out of the way. That's what made Brady's reaction so legendary. He didn't even need to speak. His face said it all. That smug little smirk, it screamed, "Told you so." But just when it looked like Cleveland might finally be turning the page, the story took its wildest, most chaotic twist yet. The meltdown of all meltdowns. While Shedeur was out there saving the Browns' season with pure talent and calm fire, Stefanski was quietly falling apart. Every touchdown Shedeur threw made the coach look worse. Every cheer for the rookie sounded like a boo for him. The press conferences got brutal, reporters pressing him like courtroom lawyers. "Coach, why did it take this long?" Meanwhile, sports shows were replaying his bad calls like they were crime scene footage. In 1 week, Stefanski went from respected head coach to the league's biggest cautionary tale, and Cleveland, being Cleveland, absolutely ate it up. They love chaos almost as much as they love comebacks, and now they had both. The city that had spent decades in football heartbreak suddenly had a new obsession, watching their coach implode while their rookie quarterback turned into a hero. The whole football world was laughing, not just at the Browns, but at the absurd beauty of it all. And the best part? Brady, the man who built his name on discipline, patience, and control, had somehow become the spiritual leader of Cleveland's rebellion. His on-air rants about accountability had accidentally sparked a quarterback revolution. Stefanski's stubbornness became the NFL's favorite meme, and Shedeur Sanders didn't even need to brag. His play said it all.
I think that Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in college football. If I was an NFL GM and I had a pick to where I needed a quarterback, he'd be the first quarterback taken in this year's draft.
I admire Shedeur from the standpoint that he's playing the position the way it's always been intended to play. You know, rhythm. timing, footwork, all matching up. And then you put on top of that the ability to extend plays looking to throw. He's not a runner first, but he is.
Every completion was revenge served warm with a perfectly poetic twist. By the time the season hit its final stretch, the Browns were unrecognizable. The offense had swagger, the fans were back in love, and the cameras couldn't get enough of Shedeur's calm, confident smirk. It was movie-level drama. The doubted rookie, the crumbling coach, and the legend who called it from miles away. And somewhere in his next broadcast, Brady let out that subtle, knowing grin, the kind that says, "You're welcome, Cleveland." But Cleveland being Cleveland couldn't handle success for long. Just when the wins started stacking up and the city started to believe, the politics came crawling back. Stefanski tried to spin the story again, talking about trusting the process and building the right culture, but nobody was buying that PR talk anymore. The front office started leaking whispers about philosophical differences. The fans, they wanted him gone. The players could barely look at him. And through it all, Shedeur just kept throwing. Calm, locked in, unstoppable. He had become the calm in the storm, the eye of the Cleveland hurricane. And then came the grand finale, the game that would define everything. Playoff hopes on the line, a primetime matchup on national TV against their ultimate rival, the team that represented everything Cleveland wasn't supposed to be. The buildup felt biblical, years of pain, pride, and redemption all crashing into one night.
So Stefanski knows if he gives in to Shedeur, I think he's a goner. You know, like that's going to be the end of him because he's dug in internally with the owner and the GM that he just wants no part of Shedeur. He doesn't like him. He doesn't like the way he handles himself. He doesn't like the way he carries himself in the locker room and the social media and all those things that nobody liked about him or a lot of NFL people didn't like before the draft. So it's going to take the owner stepping in and saying, it's time. We're going to do this whether you like it or not. And that will mean Stefanski.
And when the team ran onto the field, the crowd didn't chant Browns. They chanted Shedeur. That was the moment you knew Cleveland had flipped forever. Then came the fallout, the chaos that follows every Cleveland fairy tale. Reports of locker room tension, front office drama, and whispers that Stefanski had lost the team entirely. The meltdown went nuclear. But in that storm, Cleveland learned the lesson Brady had been preaching from the start. Greatness doesn't wait for permission. And that's the beautiful irony of it all. The saga that started with a coach refusing to play his quarterback ended with that same quarterback being the reason he got fired. Shedeur didn't need revenge speeches or dramatic interviews. His game did the talking. Every throw, every drive, every win was a reminder that you can't bury talent built for the spotlight. Brady didn't even have to rub it in. His philosophy had already won. And Cleveland, true to form, they did what they always do. They burned it all down just to rise from the ashes once more. Only this time, something beautiful rose from the ashes. It was never meant to end with a press conference or a headline. It was destined to end like this. Shedeur Sanders didn't just play football. He rewrote the Browns story right in front of the world. He took pure chaos and turned it into destiny. Cleveland collapsed in the most Cleveland way possible, loud, messy, and unforgettable. It's almost poetic when you think about it. The franchise that spent decades begging for a savior finally found one the moment they stopped trying to control him. And the man who tried to bury him, he ended up buried by his own pride and his own playbook. That's not just football. That's karma wearing cleats. That's Cleveland. Heartbreak, hope, and rebirth all rolled into one wild ride. If you felt that story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you on the next one.